Welcome back to another instalment of New Zealand's Bird of the Week, where in this video I will be talking about the swamp harrier, opportunistic predators that succumb above a lot of New Zealand's open areas, known very well for their slow patrols of the sky above. I hope you enjoy. As New Zealand's largest living birds of prey, and the largest of the 16 harrier species worldwide, swamp harriers, or as they are otherwise known by the terms of marsh harrier, harrier hawk, or their Maori name, kahu, they fill an important ecological role in New Zealand ecosystems, and especially in open country, where they are most common. They can be up to 50 through 60 centimetres in length and can weigh anywhere from 650 to 850 grams, with the females being quite a bit larger, with birds also being able to live up to 18 years. They are long-legged with sizable yellow-tailed feet, and prominent facial discs and hooked bills to both allow them to detect and kill their prey. Chicks are initially white and fluffy, and then once becoming fledglings and juveniles, transition into a dark chocolate brown all over, and having darker brown eyes, which continually get lighter and paler as they become adults, also having their eye colour change to a bright and clear yellow. They are opportunistic predators that scour the landscape of food by slowly gliding over the ground with their large wings being held in a distinctive, shallow V-shape. They have a varied diet, mainly eating small to medium-sized birds and mammals, as well as lizards, frogs and insects. Roadkill can also make up a big portion of their diets depending on the area, doing so most frequently in winter months, mainly on animals like possum, rabbits and hedgehogs, helping in keeping roads and farms clean as a byproduct of their scavenging. Birds also have a wide range outside of New Zealand as well, also occurring in Australia, New Guinea and many islands in the southern Pacific, even being found on the chilly subantarctic islands. Birds haven't been in New Zealand all that long, as would be suspected, and only seem to have become more prevalent after widespread forest clearance by Polynesian settlers at the time, about 700 through 800 years ago, taking over the niche left vacant by the Isles' harrier, which was 4 times larger and became extinct shortly after all of the burnings. They increased in numbers even more after Europeans cleared even more of the lowland forest cells, and are now found in almost every environment, from coastal fringes, wetlands, pine forest, high country and farmland areas. Birds are most often confused with the endemic falcons, though they differ in quite a few ways if you want to be able to tell the difference between them. Falcons are most often seen in active hunting flight, chasing prey with rapid wing beats, whereas harriers are more slow-paced. Falcons almost always exclusively take live prey, and are very rarely seen on the sides of roads, with them as well being quite a bit smaller, as well as differing in their overall proportions and colour. Birds start breeding in June, when males establish territories of several square kilometres, with birds engaging in courtship displays that can continue through to October, where they perform spectacular dives, and then swooping back up in a U-shaped loop, also calling out at the same time. They will lay their eggs, usually in grassland, with their nests being made as large platforms to house them on, especially if they live in a wetland environment. Their eggs are laid from October through November, with the incubation and brooding being undertaken by the female alone. When receiving food from the males, they'll engage in dramatic aerial food passes, where the female turns upside down to take the prey and to bring it back to eat, so they're not entirely alone in the process. Their off-white egg numbers can vary from 1 to up to 7, though often than not, only about half of any given clutch will survive given food constraints. Surviving chicks will fledge their nest from between December and February, and become independent soon after. When it comes to threats, young birds, due to their naivety and inexperience, are often not as wise to feeding on roadkill as adult birds are, who are either quicker to react or will drag their food off the road, and so often end up either dying or being handed into rehabilitation facilities to hopefully heal them and release them. Birds can also sometimes be shot at, usually for fun, and are either killed outright or also need to be brought in to be healed. While being top predators, birds can be commonly mobbed by Australian magpies, sometimes even being killed by them, as well as by spearwings plovers and starlings which threaten them to a lesser extent. Birds are also only partially protected after recent downgrades, and so it is legal to control individuals which are known to be causing harm to property, usually through injury or killing to livestock like chickens. This includes the allowance of conservation managers to cull the birds if they are perceived to have a negative impact on threatened species, though it is still not clear whether this is practical or even successful. Acclimatisation societies offered a bounty on them until the 1940s, where hundreds of thousands of them were killed between 1860 and then, though they continue to remain abundant, and it would be hard to tell that they ever experienced a crash. Regarding Maori tradition, birds were a symbol of victory and chieftainship, the opposite to falcons, who were considered as rebellious and worthy of disdain. Their effortless flight inspired chants used by East Coast Maori when performing a difficult task like moving a heavy log, and were often seen as being a good sign. And with that, I thank you for watching this instalment of New Zealand's Bird of the Week. For next time, you're now able to vote for the Chatham Islands merganser, birds only known from a few fossil bones on Chatham Island that were only described recently. With that, I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.